You know when you're outside enjoying yourself and then you hear that little buzz
Yeah.
and you think, is that a mosquito? And then all of a sudden you think, wait, is there West Nile in my neighborhood?
Right.
Well, we're going to talk all about West Nile virus today,
Absolutely.
specifically here in San Diego County.
Yeah.
And we're going straight to the source. The
Mhm.
San Diego County website, their vector control program page, has a ton of information about this.
It really does, and it's so important to be informed because,
Hmm.
West Nile virus is actually the most common mosquito-borne disease in the United States.
Really?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize that it's found in every single county in California,
Wow.
including San Diego.
I did not realize that it was quite that prevalent.
Yeah.
I knew it was around. I just didn't realize how common of a thing it was.
Yeah.
So, definitely something to keep on our radar then.
Absolutely.
Especially because they have this whole vector control program, or VCP, to address it.
Right.
And I think it's fascinating how they tackle it from all these different angles.
Yeah, they have a really interesting multifaceted approach.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they have all these scientists and they're like detectives out there looking for clues.
Okay.
They're setting traps to catch mosquitoes, and then they're analyzing them to see if they're carrying the virus.
Interesting.
And then they're also looking at dead birds,
Oh.
which can be an early indicator of West Nile activity.
Wow. So they're really like piecing together a puzzle,
Exactly.
using all these different clues to kind of stay one step ahead.
Yeah.
So they're monitoring. But then what about actually controlling the mosquito population?
Right. That's the next piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
And they have strategies in place to kind of manage the mosquito population
Okay.
and reduce the chances of the virus spreading. But here's where it gets really interesting and where you come.
Okay.
Education and public awareness are critical.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit, this idea of public engagement, because I did notice on the website they really emphasize this idea of reporting, like if you have a green pool,
Oh, yeah.
one of those ones that's been sitting there for who knows how long, or dead birds, or even just like a noticeable increase in mosquitoes in your area,
Right.
they even have a really easy way to report it online.
Exactly. It's like a neighborhood watch, but for mosquitoes.
I love that.
Yeah,
So you're not just staying informed yourself, you're actually contributing to a safer environment for everybody.
absolutely. It's a collective effort for sure.
So it's not just about staying informed ourselves. It's about being proactive and contributing to a safer environment for everyone.
Yes, exactly. And it all starts with understanding the enemy. What mosquitoes love more than anything?
Besides like buzzing in our ear at the most inopportune times.
Water.
Okay.
But not just any water. They love standing water.
Ah.
Those little puddles, the neglected bird bath, even clogged gutters, like anything that collects rainwater and sits there.
It's like they say a single drop of water is a mosquito's paradise.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's all about disrupting those breeding havens. Even something as simple as, emptying and scrubbing your pet's water bowl regularly
Oh.
or making sure your gutters are clear can make a huge difference.
Wow. So it really is those small actions
Yeah.
that can have a big impact.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the other side of prevention, which is protecting yourself from bites.
Okay.
Because no matter how hard you try, sometimes those mosquitoes are going to find you.
Right.
So this is where those classic tools come into play, insect repellent and protective clothing.
Okay. So when you're talking about insect repellent, not all are created equal, are they?
You're right. You're right. The website actually specifically recommends using repellents containing DET,
Okay.
picaridin, or oil of lemon eucalyptus.
Got it.
Those ingredients have been proven to be really effective.
Okay, so when we're choosing our repellent, make sure it's got one of those things in it.
Right.
What about if we're more into like the covering up type? What kind of clothing works best?
I would say long sleeves, long pants, light colors
Mm-hmm.
are your best bet, especially during those peak mosquito hours, like dawn and dusk.
Okay, so I'm picturing like, dressing like a stylish explorer.
Exactly.
Right.
Head to toe.
But these seem like such simple things. I'm curious, like, do they really make that much of a difference?
You'd be surprised these everyday actions, when adopted by a community, they create a ripple effect.
Okay.
And that really reduces the risk of West Nile virus transmission significantly.
Wow, so it's really like a community-wide effort to
Absolutely.
create this kind of protective bubble.
Exactly.
I love it. I also noticed on the website that they have a ton of information in different languages.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Which I thought was really cool because it shows that they're really trying to get this information out to everybody.
Absolutely, to break down those language barriers and make sure that everyone has access to this information.
Yes, exactly. And then they also had these West Nile virus activity updates
Oh,
that I
God.
thought were super interesting because you can actually see what's happening in your area of San
Oh,
Diego.
that's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
So you can see, like, your local West Nile
Oh,
virus forecast.
yes,
Oh,
exactly.
love that.
That's incredible.
It's really amazing how much information they have about West Nile virus on their website.
I know, right? It's such a great resource.
It is, and they really make it easy to understand, which
Hmm.
is so important because it can be a complicated topic.
It can be. Yeah, but knowledge is power, right? When
Exactly.
we understand something, we're more likely to take action. Yes, and speaking of taking action, I feel like we've given our listeners a lot of information today
Yeah,
about West Nile virus, but this is a deep dive.
it is.
So I think we need to leave them with something to ponder.
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
I thought you might. So, dear listener, here's your final thought for today.
Okay.
Think about your own personal space, like your backyard, your street, your community,
I love that.
because it's those little everyday spaces where we can make a difference.
Absolutely.
So, what are some actions you can take starting today to minimize those mosquito breeding grounds?
Yeah, I mean, even if it's just like walking around your yard looking for standing water
Right.
or checking your screens, making sure there's no holes,
Yes.
those little things can make a difference.
Exactly. And, maybe you even get your neighbors involved.
Yeah.
Like, what if you had a mosquito-free walk party?
I love it.
Everyone gets together, cleans up the neighborhood,
That's amazing.
prevents mosquito breeding grounds.
I love that idea.
Right.
Community effort.
Exactly, because ultimately, the more we know about West Nile virus, the more proactive we are as individuals and as a community,
Mm-hmm.
the safer and healthier we're all going to be.
Absolutely.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into West Nile virus. But hey, this is just the beginning of your journey to becoming a mosquito fighting master.
That's right.
Head over to san-diego-county.gov to explore their vector control program page.
Yes.
You'll find tons of tips, resources, even more fascinating facts than we talked about today.
That's a great resource.
It really is. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay bite-free.
Yep.